Good morning friends and welcome to the pre-market view. US markets bounced back from the low of the day, and in fact Dow was down almost 100 points, and from there it managed to close almost at the flat level, and S&P in fact managed to close at the record high, and it was up almost about 0.6% as this entire debt ceiling increase part is behind us and the US has averted default. Definitely it has gone down well with the markets, and we are seeing a lot of strength coming back into that market. European markets, however, were weak and most of the indices were down about 0.3 to 0.4%. However, one comforting factor is that the overall bond yields have actually come down quite a bit, both in Spain, Italy and Portugal, which is definitely a bit of a positive for the Eurozone in terms of liquidity. And when we look at the Asian markets today morning, Nikkei is a bit soft, it's down about 0.3%. But the rest of the Asian markets are marginally up, and in fact the data of GDP for Q3 from China, which came out at about 7.8%, were pretty much in line with market expectations. Remember, in the Q2 China had grown by almost about 7.5%, so there is a bit of a recovery, which should be good news for some of the metal stocks like Tata Steel, Hindalco, Jindal Steel and Power, JSW Steel. So watch out for some positive action in these stocks in today's market. The 10-year bond yields in US continues to hover around 2.6. It had actually spiked up to 2.65. Now it has come down to this 2.6 level, which is quite comforting. And in terms of flows, FIs were net buyers in the cash market to the tune of about 1110 crore. The domestic institutions continue to sell in our markets, and they were sellers to the tune of almost about 1050 crore, and in the index futures the FIs were biased to the tune of 150 crore. SGX Nifty suggesting that we are going to open up about 30 points, somewhere around 6100, and back home our markets continue to remain resilient. We did see some weakness, but overall the breadth of the market continues to be good. We are seeing good action in certain pockets like metals and to some extent in the oil and gas pack. IT had seen some weakness as HCL Tech numbers were not up to the mark. So we had seen cracks across the technology pack, be it HCL Tech, TCS, Tech Mahindra, so on and so forth. On that note, let me invite Sadhna to take us through important F&O cues and ideas that we can have in the F&O desk.
Good morning friends, let's have a view on derivatives. After consolidating in a range, markets gave up their gains in last hour of trades and finally snapped the session with a loss of 0.65%. In spite of that, we have seen that long positions were built up by market participants, as around 3.34 lakh shares were added in open interest, and Nifty futures premium increased from 21 odd levels to 25 odd levels. And put call ratio further increased from 1.13 to 1.16, indicating put option has seen a good number of activity as compared to call option, which is clearly visible in the options activity. As we see, 5900 to 6000 put option has seen a good activity, and 6200, 6400 call option has seen a good activity. Overall, our bias for the market is positive and a view is intact. If market closes above 6236, it would open further gate on upside. And from intraday perspective, bias for the market is positive, and a dip can be taken as an opportunity to go long. From intraday perspective, one can go long on Ambuja Cement with a stop loss of 193.60. Thank you.
Here are the important news and events that we are tracking today. First of all, the companies which will be announcing numbers. L&T, we are looking at a net profit of 894 crore. The top line is likely to grow by about 8%, and in the margins, we are expecting about 100 basis points of decline. And the other companies which will be announcing numbers are Petronet LNG, CRISIL, NIIT, ExxonMobil India and VST Industries. Axis Bank came out with their numbers. Numbers were a little better than market expectations. The net profit grew by almost 21.2% to about 1362 crore against the expectations of 1245 crore. The net interest income grew by 26%, and the non-performing assets, they were up 9 basis points, both on a quarter-on-quarter basis as well as YOY basis. So overall, these numbers were a little better than expectations. So expect some positive reaction in the Axis Bank stock. Wockhardt, some negative news as the British health regulator has initiated recall of the 5 prescription drugs of Wockhardt, and the actual impact on the company could be about £1 million at the earnings level, and about 3 million pounds at the top line level, both in UK and European markets. JSPL is looking at acquiring a majority stake in the Australian coking coal miner Gujarat NRE Coke, and this would actually help them acquire almost about 53.62% stake, as it already has some stake in the company. So positive news both for JSPL as well as Gujarat NRE Coke. And IL&FS Engineering has received a letter of intent or letter of award of rupees 150 crore from one of the companies. HSBC is looking at closing the retail broking company HSBC Invest Direct and Retail Depository Services. They are likely to shut down their operations. And in another important development, the ex-NSCL Managing Director Anjani Sinha was arrested by the Economic Offences Wing. 2 employees of NSCL have already been arrested, and this was one high-profile arrest which was made yesterday. So it remains to be seen how this story unfolds over the next few days. Coming to the stock-specific news, Raymond Limited plans to offload a minority stake in its engineering subsidiary JK Files. So one can go long on Raymond with a stop loss of 243 and a target of about 255 to 260. And SpiceJet, some positive news as Qatar Airways is in talks with SpiceJet for the possible acquisition of 24% stake in the company. So one can go long on SpiceJet with a stop loss of 20.25 and a target of about 21.75. IOC, some positive news as the company has got the forest clearance for its Paradeep Ranchi Raipur pipeline. So one can go long on IOC with a stop loss of 194 and a target of about 204 to about 208. That's it from all of us, friends. Have a great trading session and see you tomorrow at the same time.